When kids arrive at the Northwest Children's Home, they have often endured adverse experiences or lived in environments which undermined their sense of safety, stability, and it interfered with their attachment. Adverse childhood experiences have long-term impacts on health, opportunity, and well-being. The Northwest Children's Home uses evidence-based practices to implement a trauma-informed approach, creating a physically and emotionally safe environment, establishing trust and boundaries, and empowering choices and fostering healthy relationships. We are dedicated to our mission for betterment of others. Collectively, our employees, supporters, and volunteers are working to build brighter futures. Listen to some of our employees tell their stories.
My name is Brennan Carpenter. I am a case manager at Northwest Children's Home, and I've been here for a little bit over 3 years.
My name is Abby Smith. I've worked at Northwest Children's Home for a little bit over 2 years now, and I'm a case manager at the Canyon View Center.
My name is Logan Woolery. I'm the residential program administrator at Northwest Children's Home, and I'm going on 10 years this December. I heard about the Northwest Children's Home when I was going to school at LCSC here in Lewiston. I had a few friends that worked here when I was going to college, and so I figured I'd get on a part-time capacity. I was going to school for criminal justice, so it was relevant in a way to the field I was studying, and I figured I could make a difference for the kids before they hit the justice system.
It's a lot of fun to work with the kids that we serve on our campus. We get to take them to go do things in the community, like community events. We get to take them to go swimming. We get to take them bowling and all those other activities. I really enjoy making connections with the kids, and it's just a lot of fun to be around them.
Yeah, what keeps me motivated and passionate about the work that we're doing here is the kids. When they come to us, they typically don't trust very easy, and you really have to work at it. They'll push you away and they'll test you more than you would think, and getting to connect with them and building that relationship up is a super unique experience. And every once in a while we'll get a phone call from a kid that hasn't been here in 3-4 years, and they just tell us how they're doing, and maybe they went to college, maybe they got a job, maybe they're in a healthy relationship, one that they've never had before, and it's just unreal.
Yeah, there was this one resident who came to us several years ago who had extensive history of maltreatment, neglect from infancy. So he was oftentimes left to soothe himself, left in soiled diapers for extended periods of time. And that kind of continued throughout his childhood. Ultimately, I believe one of his parents passed away, and that's how he came into state care. But that child had never experienced a true caring adult up until he got into the state care system and ultimately ended up at Northwest Children's Home. That client was very, he'd been through a lot, and we saw that in his behaviors, in his inability to trust adults, to form healthy relationships with adults and his peers. He had quite a struggle with that. He was very reactive with his attachment style to adults, and adults really to him up until that point were just used to meet needs, and he hadn't had that for much of his life. So he was a kid that I spent, myself and others spent probably easily 4 or 5 hours a day with, and that's outside of his direct care staff. So that's, the support staff working with him, therapists, program managers, what I was at the time working with that youth. And some days our relationship was great and some days it wasn't, but that was just him testing to see if I was a safe adult because he hadn't had that before. So it took a lot of work on our end to remain consistent and safe for him despite his testing us, and he was great at it. He pulled a box cutter on me one time that he had gotten when he had ran away. He came back and he had a box cutter and he was threatening to cut me with it. I maintained a safe distance to ensure that didn't happen and worked with him through that whole crisis. Ultimately, it turned out he gave it to me and kind of broke down in tears because it was a significant event, and we didn't give up on him here at the Children's Home. So that youth, he ended up being with us for a little over 2 years, I believe, and then it's night and day from when he got here to when he left, and he still calls back and checks in with the staff that worked with him pretty frequently nowadays, and he's a kid I'll never forget.
I would like to share with people who are not familiar with our organization that these kids are still kids and they need to have those childhood experiences that many typical kids get to experience. Things like going trick-or-treating on Halloween. We have our executive director come around to all the houses around the holidays and he'll give the kids presents. We take them to Silverwood during the summer. We take them fishing. Sometimes we go on a bike trail during the summer. We are there for them when they need somebody to talk to rant to.
Yeah, so relationships are one of the most important things in everybody's life, whether it's work, professional, or your personal life. So when we get these kids in, a lot of times they've never seen a healthy relationship, or that's the only thing that they've ever had is a toxic relationship. And so building those relationships with them isn't just super important right now, it's super important for their future and that fundamental need for a relationship. It's really the key to success for these kids.
Another great way to educate yourself on Northwest Children's Home is coming to our events that we have out in the community. We have several a year, and that's a great time and great place to come and find out firsthand what we're working on and talk to other staff members at those events that have firsthand experience in the field.
As you can see, from the way we train our staff, to the way we interact with the youth we serve, and even in the way we design our facilities, we understand the impacts and consequences of trauma, and we integrate that approach into every aspect of our services. The Northwest Children's Home has adopted a treatment philosophy that focuses on building healthy relationships and helping children create a future for themselves and for our communities. We need your help to continue to help as many children as possible.
Thank you for helping us
Build brighter futures.
The Northwest Children's Home.